I'm here with Fitzsimmons because we just went to see Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So, caveat, Mallory has never played any of the Tomb Raider games and doesn't know anything. Well, I mean, I know what Wikipedia can tell me, but I don't really know anything about Tomb Raider beyond I have seen the Angelina Jolie films.
So I've played Tomb Raider. I haven't played it in recent memory. I played it on the computer way back in the day. But I know the general concept, and I know that they just recently rebooted kind of the series.
So did you play any of the new?
I haven't played any of the new ones, just because I haven't really gotten there. Thought about buying it. But I do think she's pretty Bamf. So and in the games she's pretty Bamf. So
I really, really enjoyed this film. I feel like it fired on all cylinders. It gave me a really interesting character. I also really liked that this is sort of like a Lara Croft origin story. So it's when she discovers what her dad did and figures all that out. And I like that she's not like super tough yet. Like she gets hurt, and she actually gets hurt. Like she gets this stick stabbed through her stomach, and like she's like crying in pain and trying to get out, and you're like, wow, that feels realistic. Like this girl who's like fighting through this stuff instead of I feel like sometimes Lara Croft falls into that category of like, oh, that's a bullet wound in my shoulder, what a bummer.
Well, I will say that the Angelina Jolie movies, whilst she already, like, we come into it as she is tomb raiding, I suppose, like, they do have her still, like, get hurt and stuff, and you see it. But one of my favorite moments that kind of, like, resonated in that same origin way was the first time she kills someone. Like, she's trying to save herself from getting taken back to this place. Try not to be super spoilerific.
Spoilers from here on out.
Yes.
Deal with it.
Go away if you don't want spoilers! Okay, so she gets to this island where her dad is supposed to be, and then like gets stranded, and then escapes from this camp where there's these really bad people who are like the evil organization people. And so this guy comes and tracks her down after she basically falls off of a waterfall, and it's crazy. It's awesome. Like, it's really well shot. But so she is struggling, and it's definitely more like, I don't want to be taken. So she is chokeholding him into a puddle on the ground, and then she realizes like that he's dead, and there's this moment where she's like, yeah, and I'm like, that's realistic. That's how you would deal with something if you've never killed somebody before, because it's a huge thing. So
yeah, I really liked that too. General plot overview. Laura's father has vanished. He's been missing for 7 years. She refuses to believe that he's dead. She discovers all this secret research and finds out that he was a tomb raider instead of, a businessman. And so she goes looking for him on this island off the coast of Japan that supposedly holds the Queen of Death, who was one of the first queens of Japan, and discovers that a group called Trinity is already there trying to unlock the tomb for clearly nefarious reasons, because everybody knows that in Tomb Raider triangles are evil.
This is true. And
then discovers that her dad is still alive. And then they discover the secrets of the tomb, and, she becomes Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and spoiler alert, her dad doesn't make it.
Which is pretty typical for Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, because her dad, it's like Cinderella, her dad has to be dead for the story to actually make sense. And, like, I thought it was fresh and different from the Angelina Jolie ones. Like, there was no Illuminati things or undercurrents.
Once again, triangles. Evil.
Triangles are, well, I mean, they're always evil. Except for this is an upside down triangle. Whoa! But I think that it was definitely a fresh take. It was nice seeing someone who necessarily wasn't like, she was bad, like she had the arm muscles, but she wasn't like,
did she ever?
But she wasn't like overly muscular or anything, and like she was charming, but in like the girlish kind of way rather than like the Angelina Jolie kind of way.
Yeah, I really, really, really like this actress. She's been in several things that I really enjoy, and I super, super liked her as Lara Croft. I thought that whole thing was well done. There were a lot of gorgeous cinematic, like crazy scenes. Like there's a scene at the end where she is shooting up out of the tomb as it's collapsing, and there's just this shot where she reaches out and grabs the rope and starts shooting up, and I was like, oh man.
Well, the entire sequence of her running across things to try and get out as the tomb is falling on her was just like amazing.
And there are a lot of them that feel very video game-esque. Like, I feel like there's a difference between shots that are in films and, like, cutscenes in video games.
Yes.
And when she crashed down, she parachuted out of this plane that was falling, and she crashed through the trees. And when she crashed and rolled, it reminded me very much of a video game as opposed to, like, a movie scene.
Well, and Square Enix is one of the companies that's producing or sponsoring or whatever. They're the ones who actually make the Lara Croft games. And if I'm wrong, sorry, internet, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, I think you're right.
But, like, I can see maybe that kind of influence as well, since they're trying to reboot it and also kind of have a bit more of that feel, because obviously the Angelina Jolie ones I really didn't feel, like, other than a few moments, it wasn't very video gamey. But, like, this one had a bit more of, like, Uncharted feel too, just because of the island setting as well. So it kind of all fed into the new adventure style where your character isn't over sexualized, because that's usually what Lara Croft is a big she curves all over the place, which is why Angelina Jolie made sense at the time. But this is, you know, younger Lara Croft, and she wears something that looks like a normal outfit.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I love the songs that they play in this film, and I want them all.
Yep, I'm getting the soundtrack as soon as we get off this video.
Yeah, it was definitely very, very choice and beautiful. So I liked that whole setup. One thing I also really liked that to me set it apart from the other Lara Croft films that I've seen, and also a lot of these like Tomb Raider-esque films, adventure films like Indiana Jones or whatever, is that when they eventually got there, it was a scientific explanation for the myth, which I loved.
Yeah.
Because I think it adds this like bit of realism that made, as opposed to the other Tomb Raider films, made this film seem like something that could happen.
Right. I think that the setting was a bit fantastical in its own way, just because it is. But I agree. Like, as at the end, as they're revealing what it is, and I would like to know what like that. It turns out to be a disease. Like, she's the queen of death, but she's looking, like, Laura is looking around and reading the paintings and going, wait, she sent herself here. She sacrificed herself so nobody would get hurt. And then you see this disease overtake and basically like drive this dude insane instantaneously, and it's terrifying.
So, like, it's maybe a mythical disease, but at least it's a little more scientific.
Yeah, and if it's something nobody has an immunity to, there's no reason why you wouldn't insta-die, I guess. But yes, I think that it has an element of realism then. And, like, the situation in which you see, like, this island is in with, like, the almost, like, slave camps that they're running these people that just kind of got brought there on, also very, like, real and, like, in your face, which I thought was very nice, too.
Yeah, that was perfect. So, ratings. Out of 5 stars, I would give this film 4.5. Man, I'm just feeling like really happy about ratings lately. I wouldn't give a lot of high ratings. But it was enjoyable. It was female-centered in a really, really good way. She did not have a romantic encounter at all with the guy she hung out with, which gets bonus stars from me.
Yeah, and the only romantic was this one guy at the beginning where, like, his family's like, ask her out, and he's just like, that's fine.
Have a good day.
Yeah, it was so funny. But for me, I will give it 4 stars, mostly because, you know, it was amazing, and I like to be slightly more critical. I don't really have any criticisms that I can think of off the top of my head, but, you know, those 5-star movies, I gotta hold it close, so.
I suppose I shouldn't tell Amber that I gave Hurricane Heist 5 stars.
I'm not surprised.
Listen, I've decided that movies don't get compared to each other. They get compared on the delivery of what I thought they were gonna be. And this is like almost exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
I suppose if that's the case, yeah, no, I would still. I think my only criticism is how they set up, like, the boardroom what's coming next thing.
Yeah, I also don't know how I feel about that.
So that's my 1 star down. Also, though Nick Frost was in it, so now maybe it gets another, like, star up. But there was no Simon Pegg. That kind of made me sad. But that's okay. Anyway.
So yes, if you like action films, if you like female starring BAMF films, if you like Tomb Raider in general, or if you just like watching a really awesome girl lay the beat down on people, then go check out this movie. And I, at least, will see you tomorrow.